my great pleasure to be with you here today. I'm very, very excited to share this webinar with Sun Life again. My name is Amy Ballantyne, and I am a holistic health coach, and I've been coaching for 12 years, helping many people in a variety of ways. And I'm going to go through some of the information with you here today in hopes that, my true hope is that there's something that you can take away to implement in your health right now, starting today. And as you continue to build those habits, you'll see a shift. So as you can see, I have a number of credentials. I've been passionate about health for my entire life. And really my story stems from the fact that my mom actually lost her parents when she was a really young child. And I heard about these parents of hers, these grandparents of mine that I would never know. And this really stemmed in me, this desire as a young person to want to be healthy enough, to live long enough to know my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren. And I really, truly am passionate about helping individuals to live that healthiest life so you can have the time with your family, the time with the people that are most important to you for as long as possible. So that's my why, and why I'm so passionate about helping individuals with their health. So my approach, as you can see here on this slide, is to be really focused and personalized with the individuals. I don't believe that there's a one-size-fits-all approach, and I think that this is the reason why there are so many diets out there, because people find something that works for them and want to share it with the world in hopes that it can help other people as well. So I always take the approach of, what is the style of eating that works for you, and the lifestyle that works for you, and how can we shift it slightly? How can we modify it to get you to be at the healthiest you possibly can be? So again, my goal today is to help you uncover 1 to 2 health habits that you can implement right away. My friends, I really believe that this vehicle of ours is very, very important. And if I asked you to show, put on your video and raise your hand if you know somebody who has a really awesome car. Anybody? Hands up. Anybody know somebody, or you've seen an awesome car driving down? You know, it's very likely that these people are taking good care of their car. They're putting good fuel in that car, right? They're not going to put unleaded fuel into a super souped up fancy car. They're going to put in the absolute best. And this is what I want to challenge you. Are you putting the absolute best into your body? Are you treating your vehicle that you have for this walk on this life to the absolute best you possibly can? Do you want to make some shifts around this? And notice the car on the left-hand side is rusting. Our body actually has this degeneration process. That's aging, and it's rusting from the inside out. And there's ways that we can help to take care of it so that it stays healthy as long as possible. So I want to challenge you. You know, the word self-care, it's a bit of a buzzword these days, but I want to challenge you that self-care is simply just putting yourself first, putting something on your to-do list that's actually you. And I had an awesome coaching call with a new client of mine, and she actually prioritized her workout above some other things in her life. And I was just so happy to see that she was making that a priority for herself. And I want to challenge you. What is it that you're going to put on your priority list for you today? Because my friends, burnout is the result if we're not taking care of ourselves. So what the heck is a holistic approach? People might be asking. It means that I not only look at eating and movement, which many health coaches or dietitians or nutritionists, that's their main focus. I'm also looking at, where are you getting your energy? Are you feeling low energy? What does it mean for you to disconnect from some stress so that you can actually perform better at work or be more present with your kids? What does that mean in your life? If you are taking a look at the exercise that you're currently doing, or how you're sleeping, you know, it's crazy with what's happened with COVID. The stats are showing that more and more people are saying that they're getting worse quality of sleep. And I want to help you have a better quality of sleep. So I'm looking at the whole picture of health and not just a couple of pieces of it. So diving right in here to, why do we eat, my friends? We eat for nourishment, we know. We eat for pleasure, we eat for social, and we also eat for boredom. So I won't make you raise your hand, don't worry. But there have been clients of mine that have said that they have been eating far more now because their refrigerator is right near their desk, right? The office space that you're working in, and for most people, is still at home, and it's only steps away from the refrigerator or the snack cupboard. And so I want to challenge you, if this is the health habit that's connecting with you, is really diving into, why are you eating when you're eating? Is it because you're actually hungry? Is it because this is just the pattern that you have? Is it because you're bored? Is it because you're missing your family? There's a huge connection to food and family, right? When you think about when you were growing up and what that meant to be sitting around the table with your significant others and your family members and your extended family. I know the bubbles have opened up a bit more, but you know, connection to food and family is a big one. So I've had some clients who decided to, you know, put a sticky note on the refrigerator, for example, to remind themselves of, you know, wait a second, why am I here? Or a sticky note on that cupboard where you may keep the snacks that you don't always eat, but they're still in your house, you know, those snacks. So reminding yourself and giving yourself that handy tip. So I want to ask you, why does our body need us to eat? This is so that we can create that very, very important ATP, that energy that our body needs in order to really be able to work at its best. And this means providing the macro and micronutrients for the 37 trillion chemical reactions that take place in our body. So I'm going to dive in a little bit more to these macros and micros in our health in a little bit. But characteristics of modern life, as you can see, there are many things that we have been facing for many years now with being at home with COVID. I think for some people, this has allowed them to make more home cooked meals, to eat less fast food. It doesn't mean that they're not eating any fast food and processed packaged food, but I believe that there has been a bit of a shift in that people are eating more home cooked. And I want to give a huge thumbs up for that, because this is really, really important. We have this challenge that our body faces when we eat this fast food and packaged and processed food, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But we also have this increase in stressors to our body through GMOs and chemicals that might be present, pesticides, all of these things. So these are characteristics of modern life. And just a reminder for those who have recently joined, that there is a handy workbook in the chat there that you can grab the link. My assistant Anita will pop that in there for you, so you can make some notes as you're going along here today. I'm also going to share some information on how the intake of key vitamins and minerals can impact your body, and the impact of stress, mental and emotional stress. So all of these things are impacting us at the cellular level. They're impacting our bodies, and I'm here to support you in creating some healthy habits. You know, really starting with one or two things. I really believe that we are, now that we're working from home, people are working even longer hours than they were before, because their desk is right where their life is. So I want to challenge you, what is the health habit that you want to implement for you that can take your health to the next level? And again, it's really about making those gradual shifts, my friends. And as you really make those strong habits, you will see the difference in your health overall. So how do these health changes impact us? These challenges impact us in many ways, and one of the big factors is that we have obesity on the rise. And this is actually, you know, with adults as well as children. And as you can see, there's a variety of health challenges that go around with obesity. So noticing, where are you at in your health, and where could you use some help, and are you ready to get some help? Are you ready to have some support? Because you're not alone, my friends. And again, there are some key things that we can work on with a personalized approach for you to help you, if it's shedding the weight or working on some mindset shifts that can make a big difference in your health. So what are macronutrients? You know, I love this picture actually. It's fairly simple, but it's reminding us that there are three main categories for macronutrients: the carbohydrates, the proteins, and the fats. And I want to encourage you that some people, you know, blanket statement all carbohydrates together. You know, when you think of carbohydrates, what do we typically think of? We think of breads, we think of bagels, we think of cookies and crackers, but also your carbohydrates come from your fruits and vegetables. So I want to challenge you on a mindset mindset thing when maybe you're saying to yourself, oh, I have to stop eating so many carbs. And this is where some diets, I think, cause a little bit of confusion, because we don't want to cut out vegetables, right? Vegetables are super important. And if there was one takeaway that I could highlight for you today in what I shared, is if you could up your vegetables, this would go a long way. Absolutely a long way in your health. So if that's the health habit that you want to focus on today, I want to challenge you to go there. I'm going to talk a little bit about proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. And notice the middle of this picture here, how there is an overlap in that there are some foods that have both carbohydrates and both protein, which can be beneficial, right? So you get those macronutrients and maybe less calories altogether because you're not eating as much. So really important to note those things. Now, I want to highlight the Canada Food Guide. I'm sure all of you have seen this by now because it was released a year or so ago. But if you haven't, this is so wonderful. This Canada Food Guide is amazing. Can you please show me your raise of hands if you have seen the new Canada Food Guide, or thumbs up? Can I see a thumbs up? Does everybody have their thumbs up button? Can you thumbs up in your video there if you've seen the new Canada Food Guide? Because this is really interesting. Are people being made aware of this? I'm not so sure. The plan of having your half plate of vegetables is so important. It's so important, and it will make a big, big difference. The other notice is that there are a variety of different ways to get your protein. You can get it from plant-based sources. You can get it from nuts and seeds. You can get it from the meat. You can get it from dairy. There's all sorts of different ways to get your protein in, and it's really about finding the thing that fits for you the best. Noticing that there are still whole grains. This is still a part of the food guide, but it is a quarter of the plate versus half of the plate, right? They've really made a shift to help people see that, you know, if you could focus on having that half plate of veggies, you will notice a difference in your energy, and you'll notice a difference in a lot of other symptoms that you're experiencing as well. And I want to highlight for you that I have a symptoms assessment available for you, and I'm going to send that to those of you who have already opted in for your handbook. You're going to receive an email from me tomorrow with the opportunity to have that free assessment done. For a limited time, it's free, so I encourage you to get that assessment done to figure out what foods you could be eating to reduce those health symptoms you may be experiencing. You know, bring up those vitamins and minerals from those foods. So I want to talk now about the glycemic index. And can you please, if you can, give me a hands up, a clap, or a thumbs up using your icons. Have you heard of the glycemic index? This is a really interesting topic because, you know, some people who are diabetic actually are taught about this, but many of us are not taught about this topic. And I highly, highly encourage this type of eating. Now, it's not a diet, in my opinion. It's a mindset shift. It's a mindset shift of understanding what happens in our bloodstream when we eat carbohydrates. So I'm not talking about protein right now. I'm not talking about fats. I'm talking just about carbohydrates. So think about a French fry, okay? So a French fry is going to spike your blood sugar, and the insulin is going to rise in order to protect your blood vessels from having that blood sugar spike be too high. And our blood vessels only have a small window that the blood sugar can rise. So the insulin surges in to protect us. And then it causes, as you can see on the chart here, it causes us to dip down. So the blood sugar lowers, and it actually lowers below starvation if we've surged that insulin. So if we really are spiking our blood sugar, our insulin is going up, then we cause this dip. So has anyone ever had that time where you've eaten something really sugary or really, you know, your carbohydrates like breads or bagels, muffins, donuts, cake, where you can feel like you've got this energy, and then all of a sudden you had this crazy crash a short while later? This is what's happening because our insulin is bringing us back down into that range. Now, unfortunately, sometimes we get below, and this is where we feel weaky. I said this last time, weak or shaky, not weaky. Anyways, we feel weak or shaky. Sometimes people have had this challenge where they have gone into seizures, and this is a huge problem, right? So has anyone ever had a time where you felt so hungry where you want to like gnaw your arm off? That's where you're like that starving. This is where we're below that line of give me something really quick to eat so that I don't have this feeling anymore, and so that we can bring the blood sugar back up. The goal here, my friends, is that we actually have a gentle curve of energy throughout the day and not these giant peaks and valleys. So as an example, does anyone remember, or maybe you've made these with your kids while they've been at home, can you give me a thumbs up, high five in the chat if you have heard of or remember those paper chains that we used to make in kindergarten? You know, they stapled them together and hung them around the room for, yeah, so the paper chain concept. So think about noodles, okay? So I'm sure you've had some kind of pasta, and perhaps you may have not been paying attention and the water boiled a little bit too long and the noodle got really limp, okay? Like really limp. Have you ever had that? Hands up if you've had the disgusting limp noodle. Yes. So we want to try to avoid overcooking things like noodles, because what happens is the paper chain or the actual nutrients break down in that noodle so much that when you actually get it into your stomach, much of the breakdown has already happened, which means that we're spiking our blood sugar more quickly with that food because it's already broken down. But if you cook your pasta al dente, so it's more firm, and then you put it into your stomach, you actually experience the breakdown more slowly. Now, I'm going to give you some more tricks around that in a moment, but it's recognizing that carbohydrates do spike our blood sugar and insulin rises to protect us. Now, note, I had an individual watch this webinar the first time, and he shared with me in our 30-minute consultation that he was a type 1 diabetic, and insulin works to protect his system. So notice that depending on your own situation, there may be some variations to what I'm talking about, but the main point for the majority of people who are being told by the doctor that they're pre-diabetic, or you're starting to feel like you've put on a lot of extra weight and you are concerned about being pre-diabetic, learning this glycemic index can go a long way. And I'm going to talk more about this. Going into the carbohydrates now, for choosing carbohydrates that are complex, so they are the fruits and the vegetables, these are going to break down more slowly in our body. They're not going to give us that surge of insulin. And in the handout, there's a link there for one of the sites that I really do like to go to check out the actual glycemic index of food. I've also put that into the workbook as well. But we want to reduce those simple carbs as much as possible. We want to add in more fiber where we can. You know, the stats are showing that most people are getting not nearly enough fiber, and this can make a big difference in your entire system, in your entire health. But fiber can make a difference in helping you feel fuller longer as well. So noticing here that when we're taking in these complex carbohydrates, this is stimulating our metabolism. Who would like their metabolism to work better? Anybody? Anybody out there would like their metabolism to work better? So having in there your vegetables and your fruit more often is really important. And noticing, this is why I want to highlight that mindset shift of what carbohydrates you're choosing, because glucose is a primary fuel source for your brain and nervous system, my friends. So if you're saying, I'm cutting out all carbs together, and then your friend beside you at the desk hears you saying that, and then I guess you're not beside each other anymore, but you're chatting, right? And so we're spreading this mindset of we're cutting out carbs, but we're not actually cutting out all carbs, right? We're reducing the simple carbs. Doesn't mean you can't ever have bread or pizza or pasta. We're just reducing those if you want to see a difference in your overall energy, in your bloating, in your waistline, all of those things. Now, from the protein perspective, this is essential, and you can get your protein from either source. I'm not going to go into which is better, but what I will tell you is there are some tricks to getting more of your nutrients by pairing certain nutrients together, which I'll talk about in a moment. But with your protein, we really want to be taking in a wide variety of different types of proteins. So if all you ever take in is chicken, you may want to consider having some beans or some nuts and seeds if you're able to, having some plant-based protein mixed into your diet. This is a great way. Now, if you're simply vegetarian, that's no problem at all. Recognizing how you're feeling, and it may be an opportunity if you're feeling really low energy to have a consultation, and we can talk about ways to boost that up. But one of the things when it comes to the glycemic index, and talking about protein, is if you pair that carbohydrate with a protein, it actually reduces the amount your blood sugar is going to spike. So going back to the example of the noodles, ensuring that you have that nice tomato sauce on there with some veggies, and then you're putting on the protein source as well. And if you are open to good healthy fats, putting a little bit of olive oil into there. Really, what I'm about, my friends, is creating habits for yourself where you actually are adding good healthy things to your plan, to your diet, to your eating style, instead of focusing on taking things away, right? As soon as we get into that mindset of having to cut out this and cut out that, how long does that really last? I've seen so many clients who are like, well, I just fell off the wagon again because I'm not being consistent. Well, let's focus on all the good things that you're doing, like the good things that you're adding in, and noticing from a snack perspective as well. If you're having even a fruit or a vegetable for snack, adding in a nice protein will give you the ability to feel fuller longer. It will take the digestion process, it will slow it down. And this is the key to feeling fuller longer, right? Is that we don't digest it right away and have that blood sugar spike into our body. So this is a really important piece. And then of course, adding your good healthy fats in. So one of the things that I do with my clients is I will often take a look at what they're eating. So I'll ask them to let me know how things are going, what they're eating, and I will make subtle suggestions around, well, what if we made these shifts? Or what if we added in this type of food? Are you actually taking in enough good healthy fats? It's really important that we are taking in these nutrients to help our body do all of the jobs that it needs to do. And again, if you're having that carbohydrate, recognizing, like, I don't know if you like avocados, but avocados on toast, you're still having the bread, which some people are worried that, I can't have the bread anymore. Well, if you wanted to have the bread, pair it with an avocado, and then you're putting that beautiful, good, healthy fat in there that's going to make a difference in your cells. It's going to make a difference in your energy. It's going to make a difference in your brain and your skin. And it's going to lower the glycemic index of that bread. It's going to reduce the amount that your blood sugar is spiking. So this is the kind of high level on carbs, fats, and proteins that I want to cover with you today. And I wanted to share with you that I am opening up a six-week group coaching. If you want to go into more detail, you want to have a bit of help from me and a bit of support, but not fully into individual coaching, this may be an option for you. So how do I know if a food is unhealthy? This is a question that people ask often, and I wanted to encourage you that one of the ways to know if a food is unhealthy is to simply look at whether or not it's in its natural, unprocessed state. Is it in its original state? This is a good indicator, number one. And this is a good conversation to have with your children as well, to talk about the differences in food options, right? Another way is to look at the ingredient list. So, if I were to go bake a loaf of bread, and probably there's some of the people on this call right now who bake their own bread, and I'm really inspired by you. It's awesome. You're putting only a few ingredients into that bread, right? There's only really a few ingredients that we need in there. And maybe you're adding in some hemp hearts and some special, some chia or flax to help make that bread even better. But in general, making that bread only has a few ingredients, right? So, but if you go to your refrigerator right now and pull out that loaf of bread, how many ingredients are on there? This is food for thought, right? And I want to encourage you that my approach is always, we have to do what is the best you possibly can do for you. We all have different factors contributing to our health and to our lives. We have different income levels. We have different abilities to buy certain foods and shop local and organic and all natural and all of these things. It's about making the best decision you possibly can at the time for yourself. pushing aside any judgment or any worry about anyone else. It's about making that decision for yourself. The other thing that I want to highlight is noticing serving size. Our friends in America love to have these giant portions because they see this as more value. And I want to challenge you on that concept, if that's something that's really important to you, is recognizing, I grew up with a plate where it was like you had to finish it because there were starving people. I'm not a fan of the guilt. I believe in helping the starving people, but your plate is your plate. And I think a lot of food challenges for some people come down to the fact that we're eating to finish our plate because of other things outside, and not because as to if we're actually hungry. Can anyone actually relate to this, growing up in a house where you were told you had to clean your plate? Yeah, thumbs up. Or yes, this is a real thing. I think that many of us had parents who were in the baby boomer kind of time period, and so and there was even more scarcity before that. So this comes from a place of reality, but can we make some shifts around? If you want your health habit to be focused on noticing your serving size on your plates, that's a great place to start. And I would challenge you, my friends, that we are, again, so overloaded in our lives that I highly encourage you to pick one or two things that you're going to really dive in and focus on, because this is where you're going to see real shifts. The people that say, I'm going to do these 15 things starting today, are more likely to actually not be successful because they end up losing faith in themselves because they don't get all 15 things done. I want you to have a win. So picking one or two things that you want to focus on is what I would highly encourage. Now, others have asked me about appropriate serving size. And some people really love the concept of weighing their food and using scales. All the power to you, but I want to challenge you, my friends, that if you are going on vacation, are you taking that food scale? Or when you're planning to retire, are you going to be continuing to weigh out your food? I love to work under the mindset of really and truly thinking about a long-term lifestyle plan. Long-term, not these itty-bitty diets that we go on, these long-term. So long-term, will you be carrying your hand around with you to a restaurant? Most likely, right? So when you go to that steak restaurant, for example, and they put this giant slab in front of you, could you make a choice that is more appropriate for that, what you want to eat at that time? If you really want to eat the whole steak, that's up to you. But if you want to stick with the appropriate, a more realistic serving size for yourself, it's putting your palm beside it and going, you know what, maybe I'll take the rest home and have it for lunch the next day or dinner the next day, that kind of thing. And again, these numbers at the bottom here, my friends, this is an average. So if you're a larger male or a smaller female, or a smaller male or a large, you have to use your judgment based on yourself. And I'm happy to have a conversation with you to help you start somewhere if you'd like to book that 30-minute call. But also notice that we can decrease some of these things if you want to start to lose weight. So for a gentleman who wants to lose weight, perhaps he is decreasing where it says two handfuls of carb-dense foods. Now I'm talking about the starchy carbs, so the rice, the pasta, those types of things. Perhaps instead of having two, he has one, or he has 1.5, like he's cutting it down, right? It's recognizing that there's some subtle ways to make shifts where you can still have the thing that you like. You can still have the pasta. Well, if you were to come to my house at dinner time when we're having pasta, I start with my greens. I pour in all sorts of spinach, and then I put my vegetables on top, and I'm putting all of these things in the bowl first, and then I put a bit of noodles, and then I put my sauce, and then I put my protein. And you'll notice it looks more like a salad than a pasta dish, but that's the choice that I want to make for my health because I want to up my veggies and reduce those carbs. So you get to choose for your own health what choices you make for you. So I'm going to shift a little bit more into the micronutrient side of things because, again, I only have a certain amount of time and I want to make sure that you're getting all of this information. What are micronutrients? These are the vitamins and minerals that we have in our body. And I want to encourage you that these are essential for producing things like hormones, proteins, and other things in your body. All of these reactions, all of these things that are happening in your body are powered by micronutrients and macronutrients. So we need to be taking these in. And a tip that I said that I would share is if you are taking in things like spinach, you're taking in these plant-based options, if you sprinkle vitamin C onto the spinach, for example, you're actually going to get more nutrients out of that spinach because you put the vitamin C onto it. You put that lemon on there. So just some key little tips there to help you with encouraging and increasing the absorption of those nutrients as well. Again, I want to be mindful of time, so reminding you that if you can look at your plate, or look at your plate over the week. If you started writing things down or snapping some pictures of what you've eaten over the week, are you getting the full gamut of color in terms of your vegetables and fruit? Because there are so many different nutrients that are available. And if you're not, this is where it may be important for you to have a conversation about how you can move to the next level in that. Now, again, just a reminder to make sure that you grab that, that link that's been in the chat so you can get the recording if you'd like, or the workbook. And I will be sending out the opportunity for you to have that nutrient assessment based on symptoms that you've been experiencing, and it will let you know what foods that you can increase to reduce those symptoms that you've been experiencing, to boost those micronutrients. So I'm shifting a little bit more to give you a bigger picture on why these antioxidants are so important, and it's because of free radicals. Can you give me a hand or a thumb or something in your video there? Have you heard of free radicals before? Anybody heard of free radicals? There's more information about free radicals now than there ever has been before. But free radical damage is caused by oxidation. Oxidation is an example of that is when you cut the apple in half and expose it to the air, that's oxidation. And this is where free radicals come from in our body, is when we have oxidation happening from stress. We have free radicals being caused from stress, from radiation, from pollution, from toxins, chemicals, GMOs, pesticides. All of these things, our body is being bombarded every single day by all of these things. And the way that we can actually combat the damage that's caused by this free radical damage is actually by using antioxidants. So does anyone know the secret that McDonald's has with their apples not turning brown? It's that they put lemon juice essentially on their apples so it doesn't turn brown. So this is one of the ways that for my kids' lunches, for example, a little hack here for those parents sending their kids back to school, is that I slice up the apple and I keep it together as a whole with an elastic. But I drip some vitamin C. I drip some lemon juice in there so that it actually will not turn brown for the kids so they can eat it when they're ready to eat it. So there's a little tip for you. But I would challenge you to consider, are you getting all of the micronutrients you need in order to reduce that free radical damage that's happening? And so as you can see here, what happens is the antioxidant actually has an extra electron in its outside ring that it can donate to the free radical who's missing one. And this free radical is damaging other cells. So if we can take in more antioxidants, it can make a big difference in what's happening in our cells right now. I know maybe I'm the only one who thinks about cells all day, but I want to challenge you. Did you think about your cells today? Well, now you have, right? So encouraging you to make some shifts there. So I want to share, this is an older study, but it's a study from some time ago that showed that the nutrient levels in foods was decreasing even at that time. So I want to challenge you, and this is part of the reason why I do believe in quality supplementation. It's why I really value somebody like Dr. Mark Hyman, who is a functional medicine doctor. So he looks at all aspects, kind of the holistic health approach, but he talks about why it's so important that we do have the opportunity to fill the gaps in our nutrition. So if you want to have a deeper conversation with me about this and your own situation and how I might be able to help you, I would love to have that conversation with you, because, my friend, not all supplements are created equal, and having a higher quality brand, I've been with my product partner for 12 years. I use it in my own body and my children's body. I trust it very much because it is made with significant science, with very, very high quality raw ingredients, and with the manufacturing process. So I'd love to tell you more about that. If you want to book that 30-minute call with me there, Anita will drop the link in the chat for you. But there is an opportunity for you to feel better. And I guess that's the question here, is if we are first working on your food, starting with food and looking at where the gaps might be. There are so many of my clients that are noticing a difference by taking in a higher quality supplement, something that actually has been proven to work and is shown to work in thousands of people, that can boost your immunity. Is that important to you? Are you having focus issues? If you could be more focused at work, be more productive, have more energy to play with your kids after you're done your work day, would that be of interest to you? If that's something that's connecting with you, it's perhaps you have challenges with menopause or joints. I also have a special happening with those particular topics, menopause or joints, right now. So you can send me a message and we can talk about that more fully. But do you want to improve your sleep, my friends? There are ways that we can focus on this. So I want to be mindful of time and continue on sharing a little bit more information here. But what happens to a plant if we don't water it? Now that you've been working from home for a number of months, has this helped your plants any? It certainly has helped mine. Hands up if you've noticed a plant dying. Yes, this is what it looks like. And this is the impact of us not drinking enough water as well. So everybody, I'm going to pause here. Grab your waters. Hopefully you've been drinking throughout this. I obviously haven't. But one of the tricks around water is that you actually put some elastic bands around your really annoying color. No, this isn't annoying. I like pink. But if you get a water bottle that attracts your attention to your eye, it's going to help you remember to drink. And if you put some elastics, as you fill the bottle, you roll the elastic up to the top so you know that you've hit your goal for water. There's also water tracking apps. There's lots of ways that you can remind yourself. But I like triggers where we're reminded visually. Some people like them in other ways, but I like this because it allows you to not have to have another thing on your to-do list to remember. But as you can see, drinking more water promotes weight loss, it nourishes our cells, it improves our skin, all of these things. Moving your body. Now, I used to be a personal trainer, so I could go down that road with you, but what I would tell you is, if you could start moving your body just a little bit more, you'll see a difference in many areas of your digestion. If you're constipated, you'll see the difference in your energy. You'll see the difference in your sleep, promoting weight loss, all of these things. And it is really about finding the thing that works for you, my friends. If going to a gym, they're now open, if going to a gym really is a fit for you, then do that. If it's not, there's many online options. I put a great recommendation into your workbook of an online option for you that's really quite inexpensive, and you get amazing quality workouts with her. Additionally, looking at, are you using your muscles during the day? Are you doing some exercises while you're sitting at your desk? There's many desk exercises. Again, I'm happy to talk about that with you if you'd like to book a consultation. Sleep, my friends, as I said, many people are suffering from poor sleep, and there are many benefits to having quality sleep, as you know. And if you could have a stronger memory, if you could have more energy, is that important to you? Is it worth it to you to work on this? I'm here to help. We want to encourage sleeping approximately 8 hours, but everyone's different. This is not a blanket. Some people feel good on 7, some people feel good on 6, some people feel great on 9. You got to find what works best for you, but recognizing that there are strategies here to implement and really focus on. If the health habit you want to take to the next level, my friends, is to improve your sleep, perhaps try sleeping naked. That's what my friend who's a naturopath recommends. You can raise your hand if you're going to try that. Oh, maybe not. No, nobody want to raise their hand for that. You could try no screen time for an hour. Also, if you put a blue light filter on your phone for approximately 1 to 2 hours before, oh, thank you for raising your hand, Ellen. I love that. If you want to put a blue light on your screen, on your phone, even on your laptop, that would be really good for helping you to promote sleep. Additionally, melatonin, we produce melatonin throughout our lives, but it starts to decrease as we age, and it actually decreases the more we look at screens. So if you know that you're having a poor sleep, this is an area that I could definitely help you. Energetic alignment, emotional, mental health. This is what I'm talking about, essentially stress. Who has stress in their life? Anybody? Thumbs up, hands up. Anybody have stress? Nobody has stress? Come on. Lots of people are experiencing stress, right? This is a real deal. And every time we are experiencing stress, we have this cortisol in our bloodstream. And I would tell you that, there's not likely a tiger behind you. but we have this stress in our body, and it's producing that reaction in our body just as if we had that tiger behind us. It is increasing the cortisol, it's increasing the adrenaline way too often, and this actually leads to weight gain. So reducing our stress with different techniques like journaling, stillness, meditation. I did have my meditation group on the bottom there. I offer a free meditation group. Mondays and Fridays, I go live to record the meditation. You're welcome to practice live with me, or you can watch them on your own time when it fits for you. And there are months of free meditations there if you want to try this with varying amounts of times as well. So I would highly encourage that you join that group if you're interested in having a way to slow your mind, slow the wheel. I also want to challenge you on some things of, are you setting boundaries for yourself around what is important in your life? Setting that, if moving your body is really important, is it in your daily schedule? Brendan Burchard, who is really big in leadership and really works out with a lot of executives and business people just like yourselves, talks about if it's not in your daily agenda, is it likely to get done? So I want to challenge you, if that's the habit for you that is important, of getting some time for yourself, to be still, to be quiet, to relax your brain. That's why I like the guided meditation, because I was finding that I was so excited and energized throughout the day, and then I couldn't turn it off easily at night. But with the guided meditation, you have somebody leading you through it. You have me. Now I'm not as excited while I'm leading my meditation. I'm more calm. So you will feel more calm, and that's I have a number of clients who use it actually as a way to get to sleep. So there are options out there for you to reduce that the stress, to check on your boundaries. Are you spending a lot of time with negative people? All of these things matter in your health. So my friends, I have covered many things in this very short period of time. I want to highlight again for you that if you want to dive into these topics more with me, I do have a 6-week group coaching option. Let me know if you're interested in that, to go in deeper on this, to talk about some accountability with you and what you want in your own health. But I want to challenge you right now. I hope that you've got something from this webinar today. I hope that you took away at least one health habit that you can implement right away to see the difference in your health. Put yourself on your priority list for today, because you can't pour out into others with an empty cup. So I want to thank you so much. This is the end of the formal part of the webinar, and I'm going to take some time now to answer any questions in the chat box. So if you please go ahead and type your questions in the chat box now, and I will go scrolling back to the top of the chat box to see any questions that we have here. It was my absolute pleasure, and thank you so much again, Sun Life, for showing up. You guys are amazing. And if you do want the recording, be sure to click that bit.ly Sun Life video link. That's where I'll be posting it once it's processed.
Thank you very much, Amy. This was great.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me again. Question was, is eating an avocado every day bad for you? If you don't have any adverse reactions to it, I would go, absolutely, please eat an avocado every day. Most people, now I would look at your diet, but most people aren't getting enough good healthy fats. So I'm making a blanket statement to say, yes, eat one every day, but most people aren't getting enough good healthy fats. And if you're somebody who wants to see a difference in your skin, in your mental health, in your focus, in your weight loss, even in your joints, in your recovery, there's so many benefits to good healthy fats that there's very few people that would suffer from eating an avocado every single day. We often eat too many negative fats, bad fats, but not enough good fats. So very, very good healthy fats in avocado. So please consider having that more often for sure. Now I lost my mouse here, sorry. Thank you so much for being on the session. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Which foods naturally produce melatonin? Actually, I'm going to have to get back to you, Julie, on that one. I'm not familiar with which foods naturally produce melatonin, I'll be honest with you. But I will, if you want to drop me a private message with your email, I will get back to you with that quickly. But what I do know is melatonin is produced in your body. So, so I don't want to make a statement beyond that, but melatonin is produced in your body, and there unfortunately are things that are causing us to not produce as much melatonin, which is why there are supplements. But I will get back to you, Julie. If you do message me your email address, please do. As anything with health, I don't know everything, and I'll be very transparent that if I don't know the answer, I will get it for you quickly. Glad that you could be here, Jenny. So glad all of you could be here. Is there a good healthy fat supplement? Absolutely. The product partner that I'm with, I trust their healthy fat, and one of the reasons why I love it so much is because it's actually double distilled. They guarantee that there's no adverse things in their product. Okay, so there's no mercury in their product, there's no contaminants in their product, which there's very few companies that actually will make those kinds of guarantees. So and when you put in a fish oil product into your body, for example, and it contains mercury, you're kind of, what's the point, right? Like, mercury is a huge cause of free radical damage in our cells and causes so much inflammation and problems. So you want to take in a good healthy one. So Cindy, if you want to send me a message, I'll send you the link for that product. I'm so glad that you enjoyed this presentation. And if you, for the woman who wrote about menopause, absolutely, I will send you an email. Sue, pop your email in there about menopause. Christine, pop your email in there. I have a special offer for those women who are experiencing menopause symptoms, hot flashes, mood swings, all of these, and want to be a part of a special VIP group who are using a product. And if you decide that you're going to be a part of that group, I'm going to send you a free gift as a thank you, because I'm looking for more testimonials from women and feedback from women who are using this product. And the difference I've seen in my own perimenopause has been extreme and really helpful. And other women have been messaging me that have been using this and being a part of my VIP program. I'd love to help you with that. So please do. I will send you an email if you've popped your email into the chat there.